Examples of civil rights: the right to vote, the right to a good education, the right to a decent job, the right to equal wages, the right not to be discriminated against. You can also add the right not to be lynched, the right not to be tied up to a fence, and the right not to be put behind a truck and dragged to 2 miles. The most important one, and the one that Martin Luther King was really working on, was the right to vote. And he really wanted the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to be combined because he felt that the right to vote was the key to getting the other rights and getting the other things. If you couldn't vote, then everything else was, it didn't matter. How could you get a good job? How could you get a good education if you couldn't vote and you couldn't vote on these things? So most of the civil rights, when we're looking at Martin Luther King, African Americans, was the right to vote, getting rid of the poll taxes, getting rid of grandfather clauses, getting rid of white primaries, and basically getting rid of the intimidation. The right to good education was stopping the separate but equal in Brown versus Board of Education. And then towards the end of Martin Luther King's life, he really was focusing on poverty, focusing on jobs, decent wages. That how can you be a human being if you didn't have a decent job and decent wages? With women, a lot of their uh, rights and fighting for rights, of course, they got the right to vote in 1920, but then to be able to get a good education, go to college, to get a decent job, and equal wages. Reports are women are still making about 80 cents to the dollar what a man makes. Might be median wage, might be different things. Yes, there are reasons for it, but discrimination is part of it. The right to the same job, the same wages for men and women. And then you have the rights of the disabled. People with disabilities, they can't get a job, they get lower pay. They're discriminated against in many ways. And then, of course, with gay rights, gays and lesbians, a lot of times they can get fired in the South. They get paid less. They are not allowed to basically rent apartments and things like that. So there's a lot of with civil rights. This unit is going to concentrate on African American civil rights for the AP test, but I will be posting some Supreme Court cases about affirmative action, about women, about gays and lesbians, and then disabilities. So these are the examples of civil rights.